And here we go. So it begins. So, Link's Awakening, not VX version, not the same version we've been running in prior years. This is the original. Also, not to be confused with the new Switch version, this is definitely not that. We don't have pre-releases. 100% Warpless. So any percent, beat the game as fast as possible. The only restriction we have is Warpless. You cannot wrong warp. So you can't go to what's been called Garbo Land, the doghouse glitch, if y'all have ever seen that. Can't be doing that. You are going to see plenty of glitches, plenty of tricks, plenty of things that you might almost consider a wrong warp, but are definitely not. Starting our way, making our way onto the beach for the quick sword, or hopefully quick sword, getting a look at both methods of doing this. From the top and from the left. The goal here is to pick up the sword before the owl flies away, saves a little bit of time. Xander got his. And same with aulos. And now the fun already begins with a trick called rupee duping. So we're going to be collecting rupees all along the beach. We want to leave here with 10. To do that, we're going to do a trick, as I mentioned, rupee duping. If you collect a rupee with both Link's sprite and the sprite of either the sword or the shield on the same frame, you collect 2 rupees despite it only being 1. And we need 10 to buy 20 bombs and powder at the trendy game. Xander leaving with 5, aulos leaving with 8. So we need 10 to enter the shop. There's aulos, both of them getting it roughly the same time. First thing we're going to do is take this shovel, and see ya, it is now ours. Stealing, I do not recommend this in real life. I do recommend this in Link's Awakening. And now we're dead, and now on to our next trick. We're going to grab these bombs, we're going to select yes, we're buying it, and then immediately open the save and quit menu, and save and quit. And what that does is we actually bought the bombs, but didn't spend any rupees on them. I believe Aulos only buying 1 set of bombs there. So the reason we did that is so we don't have to collect more rupees, because we need these rupees here for a trendy game right here. We need this powder for literally 1 time during the game. First try for Aulos. Easy every time. Yeah, do not rob a store where the shopkeeper has a lightning gun, or, don't rob a store, period. So something you did see there, and you will see plenty of times throughout the game, is we can skip most text in the game, not all of it, but a lot of it by opening the save and quit menu right before it appears, and then closing it, and you don't have to listen to useless text. You also saw a stop in a house there. That is to set a point for a save and quit coming up in about a minute. We are fully allowed to save and quit in this category. And it does come in handy. Looks like Xander... Oh, did he actually get that? Nice. Going for a bomb trigger, which we're about to see here, to prevent the owl coming in. So you can see Aulos doing a bomb trigger there. I'll explain that in a moment. But you see what it did is it turned the raccoon, did the same thing as putting powder on it, but you were able to leave the screen immediately and go back on, and the raccoon's gone. And that just skips a cutscene, a lot of text. So, as I mentioned, that's called a bomb trigger. If you put down 2 bombs within 4 frames of each other, in this case they used a screen transition to do it because you're not normally able to do that, it confuses the game and causes the game to play an event on the following screen. In that case, it was the changing up from the raccoon to Terran. You'll be seeing that throughout this run. That is very important. Also very important is that pit walk Xander just did. Gotta save those frames. And into Dungeon 1. Very short, pretty quick dungeon. And we'll be getting a very important item, the feather. You'll see why it's important coming up here. First, gotta work our way towards it. Little damage boost there for all those. You don't want to have to wait on the traps there. Also, aulos reminding us, ooh, nicely done with those that this game was originally released on the Game Boy in black and white. Picking up some health there, not a bad idea. Some people don't know, if you jump on top of Goomba's heads, you automatically get a heart drop. So if you're low on health like he was, it was very useful. You see the heart floating in there. We will not be getting that because we will not be making our way back because we can save and quit after getting this feather. Using a save and quit menu there to also skip the text of getting a feather. So a little optimization we can do. And at the same time, you also use his menu to switch around his items. Menuing is important in this run to the top tier runners. Knowing where your items are at all times, having a menu route, knowing what you need coming up, spending as little time in the menu as possible, because the time you spend in the menu really adds up. So what you just saw there on Aulos' screen, you'll see again in a second, and you also see Xander do it at the same time from the bottom. Those are called super jumps. What we did, we clipped into the wall, and we jumped facing the wall, faced away from the wall, and used the weapon. In this case, the bow. You can also use a sword, you can use the magic rod. And the game reads that as, we must be jumping down off of a cliff. Hey, let's move you accordingly. And we were able to jump over that key block. You're going to see this a lot in this run. It is very important. Just like surviving Moldorm is very important. Nicely done by Aulos. The first boss in the game, and all kidding aside, probably the hardest boss in the game. Gotta be careful, not only to not die, but you don't want to take a fall. In this game, in LADX, if you fell, you could always buffer a jump coming out of the transition to get back to the room a bit quicker. You cannot do that in Link's Awakening, so you have to go through 2 rooms, go back to the boss room, reset the boss fight. It's a huge time loss. Both runners done with Dungeon 1. Next stop, we'll be getting our good friend Bow Wow and heading to Dungeon 2. Now, for the first half of this run or so, the dungeon order is pretty normal, although we will actually not be finishing Dungeon 2 our first time entering. But we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and after that it's going to really change. We don't do things in order in these games. So going through the mysterious forest here, just want to dodge these enemies. Killing them just slows you down, there's no reason to do it. You can stun them with a sword swing, as Aulos demonstrated there. Just try and get them out of your way. Skipping that heart piece is a shame. We'll be jumping over that again later. We do not need it. There's no reason to collect it. And now going to rescue our good friend. As you can see, more text skip. Nicely done. A 2-cycle for Aulos. We'll see if Xander gets that as well. As we pick up Bow Wow here, we'll save and quit out to exit the cave again. It's quicker to do that. And a 2-cycle for Xander as well. What Aulos is doing here now, you notice he clipped into the trees, and when that text box appeared, he was actually holding left. And what that did, it allowed us to perform what we call a flock clip. He has decent RNG on those flowers. The text box, when it popped up, it actually moved us over a pixel. Doesn't always do that, but moved us over enough that we were able to just walk right past that rock. These flowers are annoying, they're RNG. Alright, we didn't spend an hour there, good. So, you'll notice Xander doing it right now, getting rid of all this powder. We need powder to light those torches, there's no way around it. But, we need to get rid of powder, because after this dungeon, we're going to collect the mushroom. And if you have any powder on you, you cannot collect that mushroom. That mushroom is vital to this run. Both runners making sure they skip that powder pickup, or they have more to get rid of. Watching Aulos' screen, 2 arrows, there goes the mini-boss. You also had that in D1. The bow is very overpowered in the early game. That's why we take it. And it's needed at some point anyway. I definitely did not expect us to be stealing that early in the game. taking care of those ghosts, getting the power bracelet, saving and quitting, we're done with Dungeon 2 up until the very end of the run. That is the last dungeon instrument we will be collecting. And now there's two things we need to do before we head over towards the direction of Dungeon 3. We need to A, collect the mushroom right over here, and B, collect a warp right outside Dungeon 4, heading the opposite direction of the map. That will come in handy for when we actually go to Dungeon 4. This mushroom is going to come in handy pretty much immediately, as you will see, once we make our way towards getting the Dungeon 3 key. And you can do these in whatever order you'd like, both runners choosing to get the mushroom first. Alright, and there was the warp. All you have to do is look at it. It is now active. We can save and quit. And go on our merry way towards the Dungeon 3 key. Although skipping the heart piece of shame. Now, if you've done this casually, you might remember getting the Dungeon 3 key. You have to visit Connollet Castle, collect 5 golden leaves, go through a pothole maze. We're going to skip pretty much all of that. We will go to the maze, but we're not going to get there through intended means. And this is when the mushroom is going to come in handy. First, shooting this with a completely intended bomb arrow. 100% intended by the developers. There is proof. So right here, what you're going to see him take out a block of grass, bring out the mushroom, use the mushroom all over that pit, and it actually pushes him down enough that he's able to transition onto the next screen, and the game then pushes him to the next available tile he can stand on, because he can't stand on that grass, which gave him access to this area, and then despite that looking like a golden leaf, it is actually the Dungeon 3 key. And now to get out, same type of thing. We can't stand on that grass, and you just get pushed all the way down to where you can safely stand. Having the mushroom is nice for that. In LADX, we're able to use the menu to buffer doing that, but it can take much longer. So the mushroom's very nice. What are keyholes? Here we are in Dungeon 3. Once again, using a save and quit menu just to skip the dungeon intro text. And taking an unfortunate death. Now, that's really unfortunate taking that here in Dungeon 3. Because what Xander will hopefully be doing is late in the dungeon collecting a piece of power. It's the only instance we have of it. Because we save and quit in this category, we're not able to use it elsewhere. For every 30 kills you get without saving and quitting, these enemies will drop what is known as a piece of power. It increases your movement speed, your damage, and we really want that movement speed in here. It makes a trick coming up a little bit easier. Not wanting a Guardian Acorn. So right here, you're going to see a super jump, but not a normal super jump. He's going to try that again. So you want to super jump and clink off of those Dodongos, just like he did. The problem with that is, it has a soft lock potential. If you do not do it quick enough, you can get stuck in those blocks and have to save and quit out. Xander getting it first try. And the runners are that much closer now. Plus, he has Piece of Power, so he has that movement boost. He also will have an easier time with the final boss if Aulos does not get a Piece of Power here, which he may in this next enemies. Yep, there it is. Oh, he chooses to skip it, though. Interesting. Alright, so right here, going into another flock clip. That skips getting an extra key in this dungeon. Putting us down here, and we are almost at the boss. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles this without his Piece of Power. First, we gotta split him up. Nicely done. Nice recovery. Coming up to another interesting glitch. We'll see if aulos gets it. There's a frame early. Yes, he is unfortunately early. We'll see if Xander gets it before I explain it. Think he got it? Yes, he did. So that is called Instrument Cutscene Skip. If you open up your menu, the same frame you land on an instrument, and then open up the save and quit menu, it allows you to actually skip the cutscene that you just saw on aulos screen. And that is a huge time save. We have 7 opportunities for this. We actually cannot do it in Dungeon 1, as we would not be able to get Bow Wow if we did that. But you'll be seeing them attempt this every dungeon hereafter. Just like that, we have a new leader. Just that quickly it can change in this game. So now heading our way over to the Dungeon 4 key. Casually, another thing, it just takes a while to do. There's a lot involved, a lot of side questing. But we don't need to do all that. You see Xander taking intentional damage. aulos doing the same here. We're doing that because we're going to need to take a death warp. Xander taking a safety save here, not a bad idea. Soft locked opportunity coming up. aulos saying, nah, I don't need that. He's got this. So this here is Walrus Skip. We're going to bomb trigger, once again. We're going to do this a specific way. So normally you have Marin here, we don't have Marin. So we're playing the event of Marin here, singing Waking Up the Walrus. The issue with this is we have to leave the screen at a precise point. You have like a frame or two to leave it right there, right after that text, but before the rabbit would normally be on screen. If you leave the screen too early, the walrus will stay there, and you can't get by him. If you leave the screen too late, the rabbit appears, and you are fully soft-locked, you cannot do anything. The reason why it's important, there's our death warp, and the reason why we do a death warp there is when you do that, the game still considers you in a cutscene. You're able to move around, but you cannot open your menu, you cannot use your A and B buttons, you can't use your items, which is why you either have to enter a cave or die, and it's just quicker there to die. Shoot 2 arrows into here where there's supposed to be a mini-boss, and, well, we beat him just that quick, and we're rewarded with the Dungeon 4 key. And now we're going to utilize that warp we got after Dungeon 2. We're just going to take this warp right on over to the mountains. And conveniently, one screen over from the keyhole we need to visit next. Now go left. Very important you open this up. If you don't, you are going to soft lock yourself. Because we're not going to Dungeon 4 through conventional means. Instead, we're going to hang a right here. We're going to take the back entrance. We're going to go up these stairs, which you're not meant to get through this. Do something there called a shack jump. Don't ask me to explain it. I've never done it in my life. And just like that, we're outside Dungeon 4. Dungeon 4, pretty straightforward. Nice little bomb refill here. Coming up towards Dumb Jump number 1. It's never a good sign when your game has multiple jumps that are called dumb jumps. The sink right now. So we need that small key, we need another key up ahead. Dumb Jump 1, perfect for both these runners. Exactly what you would expect. And we're going to clip into this wall, and actually use that to jump around that way. You're not meant to do that, you're meant to go around, come up from the bottom. But we could just jump like that and make it pretty easily. On to Cue Ball, our first visit to him. Xander, please do not die. aulos not exactly at high health either. aulos getting a fairy, Xander's going to do the same, I don't blame him. And rewarded with a single flipper. Not flippers, there was only one there, clearly. And we're already mostly done this dungeon. It is very short in the speedrun setting. Almost doing some nifty movement there. A couple nice super jumps to get to this boss key. Xander might take a different method. Yes, he's going for a slightly different method. Very nice pulling that off. And then we can just jump over to the boss. Just that quickly. This is anglerfish. You're not going to be seeing much of him. Because we only need 3 bomb arrows or a sword swing and 2 bomb arrows. Something like that, and he's dead. Nicely done. Time for ICS. I believe Aulos got it. Aulos did indeed get an ICS. Nice time save for him. I think Xander's a frame early, unfortunately, so that is a time loss for him. It's important to mention, these instrument cutscene skips are frame perfect. They are not free, they are not easy. It is I'd say it's very rare to even get all 7 in a row. It is difficult. So, on our way to, believe it or not, Dungeon 7. The reason being, if we were to leave the Tal Tal Heights right now, we would have to do that side quest involving a ghost, bringing him around the world, and we don't have time for that. It's a waste of time. If we don't leave Tal Tal Heights right now, for reasons I'll get into later on, he will not spawn. And we're going to be able to hit a trigger later on that prevents him from spawning. Again, I'll get onto that later. Aulos completing the most important trick in the run, the obstacle skip. Gotta save those frames. So, in order to get to Dungeon 7, we first need the, go figure, Dungeon 7 key. Now, if you've seen prior tournaments of this, you may have seen what we call Rooster Skip. Well, here we're going to do what we call Rooster Skip Skip, because we have different rules than prior years. So we're able to do some super jumps here. Gotta be careful with these. And we're able to grab the key. Now it's very important you don't transition to the left there. If you do, it is a wrong warp. And, well, that wouldn't be good. So now we have that key, we can make our way over to Dungeon 7. Now we do have more tricks coming up, because to get to Dungeon 7 normally, you're meant to have the hook shot, and we're not getting the hook shot in this run. But this is why we have the mushroom. Also nicely done by Xander. Important to note, in the cave Aulos is in, you can't go to the other side of that and just take the exit, even though it looks like, well, we're taking it here anyway. Because they're actually 2 completely different caves, despite the fact they look exactly the same. Taking an unfortunate fall here. What we're going to do, jump here into the pit, use the mushroom, get pushed down to the next screen, open the save and quit menu, keep holding down, and you just make it all the way across. And that's how we get to Dungeon 7. Aulos might want to be careful here. You got a half heart. Now, if Bow Wow is nice here, which he's not for Aulos, he might be for Xander, Bow Wow can actually eat the cutscene of that dungeon opening up, as well as Dungeon 6. Unfortunately, he was not a pal. But it's a nice time save when it does happen. And just as he did there for Xander, you can see the heart drop as well. You can actually get drops, you can get piece of power drops. So Dungeon 7. Normally kind of long casually. Not for us. You're normally supposed to take this big ball all the way around, throw it into these 4 pillars. We're not going to do that, because instead, we're going to bomb trigger them all. Aulos deciding, hey, I could use a little bit of health here. So again, dropping those bombs within 4 frames of each other. You can do it either on the screen transitions, as you just saw there, or you can use these pits in the first 3 rooms to do it. You just want to be careful not to go through all of your bombs, because you do need a total of 9 to get through this section. There will actually be a bomb refill waiting for us on the other side. Getting around some blocks with some super jumps. So menuing, trying to get his menu back in order, back the way he knows it to be. And now coming up to a trick that's a little bit of a pain. This is called Goomba Surf. This is... You need to be lined up perfectly on that wall. Wow. So that Goomba, or any Goomba, needs to move to that top right square in order for this to work. If it doesn't, you have to leave the screen and try again. As you can see on Xander's side, the Goomba not cooperating there for first try or second try. But while he does that, aulos is over here at Evil Eagle, and we're just gonna kill him with 3 bombs. This is very easy to do. Nice little bit of swag there, throwing the bomb around. Yeah, really simple to do. It prevents us, or it makes it so we don't need the mirror shield. We don't even need to stand up top. Unfortunately, Xander, struggling with this Goomba Surf, you need RNG to go your way. You're at the mercy of these Goombas. Not much you can do, unfortunately. Although, don't think he got the ICS. He did not. Xander, getting across. Definitely first try. And with that, I hope you enjoy our 7 hearts here, because that is the max we will be getting. If you're wondering how that is possible, boy, you are in for a treat. So our next destination here is Dungeon 8. Once again, it's important to note, we are still here on Telltale Heights. We are not leaving. Another dungeon you're meant to have the hook shot to get to. I'll let you guys guess how we're getting across these gaps. Xander getting another ICS. Nicely done. Bye, Marin. You don't want to talk to Marin. If you talk to her, I'm sorry. Alright, so all those coming up to the pit you saw Xander practicing on earlier. This is probably the hardest place to use the mushrooms. Not only do you have to... Ooh, nicely done. Not only can it take more than one try to get down to the bottom, you then have to jump at the same time as moving up and manage to not fall into the pit to get around. It's very tricky to do. As aulos is making his way to Dungeon 8, Xander right behind, currently working on this bridge. These tricks with the mushrooms are not free. They are not... I'll say they are not easy to do. Some may be easier than others, but these are the 2 tricky ones. So once again, we still don't have an ocarina. So we need the bomb trigger here to open up Dungeon 8. Always trying not to take damage. So fun fact about this. At the very start, you can just walk through his head. There's no collision there. Xander getting across that dumb pit. I'm sure it has a name. I'm just gonna call it a dumb pit. And now, Dungeon 8. So, when you know the layout of this dungeon, you can actually use bomb arrows to just, or bombs, to just blow up these passages in the walls. You're meant to do that from the other side, but if you know where they are, there's nothing preventing you from doing that. The pit that kills. Well, okay. Also, as Xander's showing off, you don't need the mirror shield here. As long as you're clipped into the wall and using your boots, you can just bypass that flame, only taking 1 hit. Alright, coming up on our good friend Blano. Unfortunately, we're not going to see him. We're going to do Blano Skip. It's here. Wasn't that easy. That is an unclipped super jump. Pretty precise to do that, and we just got the magic rod. And let me tell you something. If you want an overpowered item in this game, the magic rod is the item for you. Now, you might just think, well, it just sets everything on fire. Sure, that's cool and all, but that's not overpowered. Get ready for this. So, we're coming up to Cue Ball. You're gonna see aulos right near the screen transition, right here. Using that magic rod, and then the next frame opening a start menu, and you probably heard that noise, how it sounded so weird and so laggy, and the menu opened so slowly. Oh, pardon me. So what we just did was created just God knows how many of those little fireballs, whatever you want to call them, so much that it overloaded the game, and there wasn't enough room for it to bring in cue ball. We despawned cue ball, and what we did right there, God, there's so much going on here. So I know it looks a little weird. We went in the cue balls room, got pushed down into what I'll call a filler room. Now that room contains a chest that, for reasons unknown to me, has the level 2 power bracelet. Couldn't tell you why it's there. It is not a wrong warp, that is considered part of Dungeon 8. What that power bracelet does, you notice how we're no longer on Taotao Heights, Taotao Mountains, whatever it's called. So collecting that power bracelet is the trigger to not have that ghost spawn and follow us around. Alright, so coming up here, now heading to collect the key for Dungeon 6. The always fun, always lag-tastic Armos maze. If you're wondering why I'm calling it lag-tastic, just watch. You're not meant to have Bow Wow here. Combined with everything else, all the Armos, the effects from using her boots, it's a laggy mess. Alright, now here at the enemy that will give us the key. Just use that magic rod and get a free key. Xander, he's a bit behind, but still has plenty of time to catch up. So now we have the Dungeon 6 key, we will head over to Dungeon 6. Also important to mention, I kind of skipped this because talking about everything else. We didn't finish Dungeon 8. We took the back to exit out, warped out. We will be back to Dungeon 8 later. It's just quicker to do later because when we complete Dungeon 8, it'll drop us off at the front entrance, and we could drop down straight to Dungeon 2 and finish that. Those will be the last 2 instruments we collect. Making our way through this little maze that has a name I can't remember. There's a lot to remember in these games. And we're just gonna head on over to Dungeon 6 and make very short work of it, because we don't need to go get the level 2 power bracelet, we already have it. Jumping over the Zorlax pit, we're not falling in today. And right there, he's doing the deload trick again with magic. And while it's lagging the game, putting in the key into the keyhole, and it skips the cutscene there. There's a lot of cool things you can do with that. A lot of things you can despawn. You'll see more interesting uses for that coming up. God, you can see all the lag there. Yeah, even if you can't hear, you can see the lag, so you know when it's working. As you saw, a couple more despawns. Working our way to the boss key, we do still need that. Xander making his way through the tail end of the Armos maze. Now that he has his key. Gotta grab this boss key, save and quit, and take an interesting route through the rest of this dungeon. So you're gonna see a route you've probably never seen before, because we can despawn things. So we're gonna go up this way, skip those stupid horse heads, nobody likes them, and right here we're gonna despawn the next room. Now the reason that was important is right there between those 2 lamps, candles, flames, whatever you want to call them, there was normally an owl statue, but we just despawned it and was able to go past where it normally is, all the way here, right to where the boss is. And now, our first instance of deloading the boss. we don't have to fight bosses anymore up until the final boss. I believe that's an ICS. That is. So, we despawned the boss, but that also means is we did not get the heart container for beating it, which is why we're now stuck at 7 hearts. So, great job, aulos, getting that ICS, despawning an owl there. Reminder, those instrument cutscene skips, or what I call ICS, save a ton of time. So the more you get, the more time you're saving. Now, heading over towards the last dungeon we have not entered, and that is Dungeon 5. And we will, again, be making short work of this because we're not going to collect the hookshot. You've seen why we're not collecting it. We don't need it at this point. There's a couple more times when you're meant to have it, but as always, we have alternate methods. Nice little super jump there by Xander. Alternatively, you can do a flock clip to get around that key block. aulos choosing not to deload that room, just taking out the keys in the Helmasaur. So we have to come over here. We have to get a small key. There's no way around that, unfortunately. And saving and quitting all the way back to the start of the dungeon. It looks like Xander got another ICS as well. So it's a good show by both of these runners. Now, if you've done Dungeon 5 before, you know about the... Yeah, I can't even think of their names all of a sudden. My brain's getting overloaded. But normally you have the mini-boss, you have to fight him 4 times. Well, we deloaded the first one there because we don't have to deal with him. Again, we're not getting a hookshot. Instead, we're going to do things like another dumb jump coming up. Told y'all, there's more than one dumb jump. Nicely done. That was dumb jump number 2. Making it look easy. Not even going for the easy but slower setup. Now, aulos heading back up. Master Stalfos, that's the name I was trying to think of. Once again, despawning him. And heading straight for the boss, or, well, I should say, the boss room. One more deload coming up here. Just makes it a little bit quicker when you don't have to deal with these enemies. Gotta be careful, he's at 2 hearts. Nicely done. That was Dumb Jump 3. Despawning the boss, which we literally can't kill without the hookshot. Will he get an ICS? I believe so. Great job by him. Alright, fortunately, if he chooses to take it, there is a fairy coming up. He just has to survive a little bit longer. Xander coming up on Dumb Jump number 2 for him. Going with the consistent setup there, also getting it first try. Great job, both of these runners. Now, aulos is heading around the world. He is heading towards the warp, over by Maid Village. We're going to use that to go back to Dungeon 8. And at this point, we are in cleanup mode. We have to clean up 2 dungeons, get the instruments, and then head to the egg. He is choosing to take the fairy out of this tree. Probably a wise decision. I believe that is our last conveniently placed refill on this route. There is a couple other places where you can get hearts, but it's going to take a lot longer than doing that fairy. So here we are at the boss room. Going to clip into this wall, do a super jump here, a late super jump, delayed super jump, to get a shorter jump and just jump our way across the lava over to the other side. Despawning Hothead. The nice thing about the despawn trick is if you miss it, you can easily just retry it again. Xander getting it what appears to be first try on his boss. aulos not getting the ICS. I believe Xander got his. Great jobs by both of these runners. I believe that is 4 instrument cutscene skips for Xander, 3 for aulos so far. Xander has 2 more attempts. Aulos only has 1. Now Aulos is going to head over to Dungeon 2, which is just a couple screens away. And this is why we saved it for last, because it's right on the way. And as you might have guessed, we're able to despawn. That's going to make this a breeze. Oh, this game has an amazing soundtrack. I completely agree with that. So taking the warp, and we're going to super jump over that. Take a little back way here. So in this room, we're going to kill the Pole's Voice first, ideally with a bomb arrow, which you can use while the block's moving. Then the Keys, then the Stalfos, or not Stalfos. The other enemy. Correct the name for me. And then the boss key will spawn. If you kill them in any other order, you do not get the boss key. Another despawn there. Nice use of the boots and the feather. Very nice use of the boots and the feather there. And here we are at the boss. Xander going for an instrument cutscene skip. Does not get it. That Magic Genie fight. Easy here. We don't even see him. I believe Aulos is a frame early. Unfortunately, he was. And now Aulos is done. All he has to do is head to the Windfish Egg and deal with the final boss. While Xander is heading over to Dungeon 2, now you might think this is an insurmountable lead, but there's still plenty of things coming up that can slow Aulos down. The egg is not free. Okay, the egg itself is kind of free, but the bosses aren't. So first, let's despawn the owl. Hopefully the last despawn we will be doing. And then another bomb trigger here to play the Ballad of the Windfish. Oh, missing it there. I mean, he has to do another despawn where the owl would be there. Reading SRL chat, Aulos is telling Xander he's behind him. Such wonderful music. And with that, Xander finishing with 4, Aulos finishing with 3, meaning combined, they got 50% of them. Honestly, for it being frame perfect, that's not too bad. Alright, lots more to talk about. The egg. There's a set path for this if you never do the side quest to find out what the path is. You're meant to get the magnifying glass, read a book, it tells you the path. We're not doing that. We know the path. The path does not change unless you talk to that book. So falling into here, going to do one last bomb trigger. If it works, as it did for Aulos, you don't... First of all, you don't get amazing music, but you don't get the text from this boss. And we're doing a trick here. Blob quick kill, lining up perfectly. Gotta move in front of him, clink off the wall. Easy. That skips needing the powder for that boss. Now we're here on Aga. Now there is a way to manipulate this so we get no blue balls. We'll see how it goes for our runners. First 2 are free, the other 2 are either essentially random, or you can manipulate them. He is manipulating. Thanks to the work of a couple community members, this was discovered, and we also have an app we can use to figure out where we need to stand for those. Aulos getting it done perfectly. And also locking down Moldorm to get a quick kill here. Nicely done. Xander heading into the egg. This is Ganon. Goes down in 12 hits. This is supposedly Landmala. We never see him. And on to Deathel. Aulos has 20 arrows, so he can only miss 4 shots here. Or else he has to do some backups. So it takes 16 hits to the eye. You want to be careful. You don't want to get hit by Deathel. You can see it does a decent amount of damage. You can take a couple hits. Xander going for his blob quick kill. Xander getting his blob quick kill onto Aga. Aulos waiting to get the final hit or hits. Deathel, open your eye, please. Nicely done. Well, Xander's working on his Aga manipulation. Aulos skipping, trying to skip some text. I believe he did skip some text. And finishing with an SRL time of 45:51. Get your GGs in chat. Unfortunately, Xander, something went wrong with the manip, it looks like. And he is now having to deal with the RNG of the boss. Alright, getting a Moldarm quick kill. Now on the Ganon. Alright, the one hit on Landmula. And on to Deathel. Once again, 16 hits. Xander has some extra arrows just in case something goes. Open up, Deathel. Alright, now Deathel's being a little bit nice. But a little too late. And getting that final hit, just has to head up the stairs. And Xander finishing with an SRL time of 47:43. Once again, get your GGs in chat. Alright, let me go ahead and bring them in here for interviews.
Hello.
Hello, GGs to both of you.
Thank you. Congrats on the win, aulos. I think Aulos' mic might be dead.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
There we go.
Yo, GG is in there. Thanks for the GG, I guess.
So fun race. How'd you guys feel about that?
Well, that was absolutely atrocious.
Oh, well, same for me.
Dude, I failed the manip somehow, and I'm gonna go into the VOD in a second and check how, but I don't think I should have failed it.
Oh, yeah?
It happens, unfortunately.
I would have lost either way, so it doesn't really matter much.
Yeah, but it's always good to know why we fail something.
Yeah. I think Spice is right.
That was so weird because I kept messing stuff. And whenever I was failing an ICS, I would peek into the stream, and I always saw you behind me for some reason.
I heard you died in D3 or something.
Yes, so I died at the the bomb room at the beginning, so
yeah.
I missed the POP then, and so I couldn't do the shield bonk, so I was kind of very slow.
Doesn't that save 2 seconds though?
Yeah, but my menus are good with it. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
but since I couldn't do it, like I had a hard time with my menu, like afterward.
You know, I was like struggling on the pit before the pit of death that kills, and I don't know
Oh,
how
yeah.
that happened, but that was a thing.
Those can be a little bit tricky.
And then I lost like a minute and D7 to Goomba Surf, which was also fun.
Oh, nice. I got it first try.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's the reason this race was not closer than it was
Yeah.
simply good
Basically
old
because
Goomba
of Matt.
RNG.
Because of Matt, basically.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and blame him. It's all his fault he didn't get good Goombas.
Yeah.
Pretty decent luck on ICS overall. Xander, I believe you got 4 of them, and all those
I
got 3.
4. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, sounds pretty decent. Combined, that's half of them, and for a frame perfect trick, I think that's all right.
Oh no, I just bought a curse subscription. Can I cancel that?
You are cursed for life. It's a lifetime subscription.
If I subscribe to the curse newsletter, can I cancel the subscription? Oh no. You know, what else happened in my run? I don't think a lot happened.
Well, nothing that comes to mind. The early part of the run was pretty close. I think
Oh,
Dungeon
yeah,
3, Xander walked away with the lead.
I died in Dungeon 1 as well.
What? What did you do?
Like the feather chest, I just went into the spikes and fell in the pit. Oh no, I didn't. No, my bad. I didn't die, but I was like half a heart beforehand, and so I went like I should maybe get the hearts on the Goomba down there, and I got it, and then I was like, yeah, that was a good decision. I would have died for sure.
Oh yeah.
You had me worried a few times with your low health.
Yeah, well, this run it was okay. Usually I end up with only half a heart in Dungeon 6 and Dungeon 5, and also going to the second part of Dungeon 8. But for some reason I didn't get hit that much on the second half of the run. That's always like something less to be concerned about. Hey, Mighty.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say?
I don't think so.
Well, gray and more gray wins the race, I guess.
Yes, today's stream was very gray, except with some green mixed in. All right. Well, if that's all you guys got, just looking at the speed gaming schedule currently on Speed Gaming 2, we have the Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race, followed by some new Super Mario Brothers, and eventually the SMB Warpless Tournament. Speed Gaming 1 has some Final Fantasy coming up at 4 p.m. Which Final Fantasy is that? Final Fantasy Total Chaos Tournament 4. I'll let you interpret that. I've never seen it. As well as some Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland later on tonight. And that's going to be it for us. Our next race will be tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. We have 3 races tomorrow. We have a four-way stream, 2 races at 6 o'clock, channel to be determined, as well as a race at 7:30. So if you want to see more, tune in tomorrow at 6. And with that, that's all we've got. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.